Assalomu alaykum guys. Bugun listening uchun eng muhim bo'lgan darslardan biri listening comprehension haqida gaplashamiz. Darsni diqqat bilan ko'rib chiqib, kerakli joylarni not qilib yozib olsanglar, foydadan xoli bo'lmaydi. Tayyor bo'lsanglar boshlaymiz. Demak, bugungi darsda biz comprehensionni qanchalik muhimligini, the importance of comprehension shuni gaplashamiz. Undan keyin listening comprehension yaxshilash uchun juda kerakli bo'lgan ikkita approachni ko'rib chiqamiz. Do'stlar, listening va readingni ustuni bu comprehension, ya'ni tushunish. Tushunish deganda speaker nima demoqchi, nimani bilishimizni xohlayapti, o'zidagi emotsiya, fikri qanaqa, shunga o'xshagan har xil vaziyatda gapirayotgan odam yoki gapirayotgan odamlar bizga nima demoqchi, shuni tushunishimiz listening comprehension deyiladi. Buning ichiga ma'noni tushunish, ishlatilgan so'zlar, so'zlarning sinonimlari, sinonim o'yinlarida tushunish, ko'p ma'no nima demoqchi, shuni hammasini tushunib, analiz qilib, hazm qilib, keyin javobni belgilashimiz comprehensiondan kelib chiqadi. Sizda qanchalik comprehension yaxshi bo'lsa, shunchalik javob topish osonlashadi. Hozirda oxirgi IELTS testidagi listening moduli e'tibor bersangiz comprehension talab qilyapti. Oldindaqa shunchaki ozgina eshitib to'g'ri javob topish emas, hozir tushunish, yaxshilab tushunishni talab qilyapti. Tricky savollar deymiz-ku, chalg'itadigan, aldaydigan. Asosan shu comprehensionimiz yaxshi emasligidan shu tuzoqlarga tushib qolamiz. Misol uchun, o'zimni bitta imtihonimda listeningda shunaqa savol kelyapti. Eng qizig'i Partonni o'zida shunaqa savol kelyapti. Partonni bilamiz, qanaqadir forum to'ldiramiz. Shunda bitta savolda the type of transport she uses deyapti, ya'ni present deyapti. U ishlatadigan transport turi. Bu yoqdan transport turi yoza olaman, transport so'zlarini qiyin bo'lmaydi deb turib eshitsam, birinchi bo'lib oldin foydalangan transportini aytdi. Savolda she uses hozirgi zamonda deyilgan. Mana chalg'itish boshlandi. Keyin husband uni eri ishlatadigan transport turini aytdi. Ikkinchi marta chalg'ityapti. Keyin hozir o'zi ishlatadigan, often ishlatadigan transport turini aytdi. Mana qarang, mana bu yoqda comprehension sizga yordam beradi. Agar tushunchangiz yaxshi bo'lsa, birinchisi u o'tmishda foydalangan transportligini bilib, uni yozmaysiz. Ikkinchisi, uni o'zini emas, erini ishlatadigan transport turini aytyapti, yana yozmaysiz va hozir often ishlatadigan transport turi deyapti, demak, bo'ldi, to'g'ri javob shu bo'ladi deb yozasiz. Mana shunaqa joylarda qiynalib qolmaslik uchun bemalol to'g'ri javobni aldanmasdan, unaqa qiynalmasdan osongina topish yo'li comprehensionga yo'nalgan practice bo'lishi kerak. Mana aytdik-ku, listening practice materiallari birinchi beriladigan, har dayni boshida beriladigan. O'shanda maksimal tushunish uchun eshitib chiqing. Bir marta, ikki marta, uch marta. Tezda javobiga qaramang. Javobini qachon tashlaysiz deb so'rab, to'g'ri qildimmi, noto'g'ri qildimmi deb hisoblamang. Bu matematika emas, o'rtoqlar. Siz qayta-qayta trackni eshiting, ma'no chiqaring. Kerak bo'lsa har bitta gapidan ma'no chiqaring. Nima demoqchi? Nima dedi? Men tushundimmi o'zi, yo'qmi? Mana shu narsa comprehension. Bugun shuni yaxshilab yana ko'rib chiqamiz. IELTS kursiga tayyorlanayotganlar orasida juda ko'p popular tarqalgan bir narsa, bir excuse deymizmi? O'quvchilar aytadi, "Men question type'lar bilan qanaqa ishlashni bilmayman, shuning uchun listeningim past, shuning uchun readingim past" deydi. Afsuski o'rtoqlar, bu narsa noto'g'ri. Buni listening misolida tushuntirib beraman. Listeningda hech kimga sir emas. Full test 40 ta savoldan iborat. Shu 40 ta savol aslida ikkita savol turiga ajraladi. Birinchisi qolib ketgan missing words'larni to'ldirish, ya'ni fill in the blanks. Shunaqa savol turlari. Asosan bilasiz part 1 va part 4 da va multiple choice questions. Buning ichiga map, classification, multiple choice questions o'zlari, matching savollar, hammasi kirib ketadi. O'quvchilarga listening darsida shuni aytaman. Sizdan qolib ketgan so'zni eshita olish talab qilinadi. O'rta hisobda bir 20 ta savolda va qolgan 20 ta savolda comprehension tushuncha talab qilinadi deyman. Va bu to'ppa-to'g'ri narsa. Yaqin yilda chiqqan Cambridge kitoblari, mana Cambridge 17. O'shani oling, listening qismini qarang. Qarasangiz o'rta hisobda 20 ta savolingizda qolib ketgan so'zlarni qo'yishni so'raydi. Bunda sizdan super tushuncha talab qilinmaydi. O'rta me'yorni tushunib ham to'g'ri topsangiz bo'ladi. Qolgan savollarda sizdan chuqur comprehension so'raydi 20 ta savol ichida. Ma'no jihatidan kelib chiqib tuzilgan savollar. O'sha ko'pchilik so'zlarni to'ldirib to'g'ri topilganiga o'ylaydi, listeningim yaxshi-ku, nega overall balim yaxshi chiqmaydi? Agar full ishlasam kam ishlayman. Buni sababi nima ekan? Yana shu aytishadi, shu men hamma question type'ni bilishim kerak, shuning uchun past chiqyapti. Yo'q, aslida comprehensioningiz yaxshi bo'lsa, qolgan 20 ta savolni ham to'g'ri ishlaysiz. Mana listeningda 4 ta part bor. Buni hamma biladi. Eng qiyin part, ko'pchilik aytadi part 4 deydi. Bu noto'g'ri. Aslida eng qiyin part 3. Nimaga? U yerda ikkita, uchta odamni bir vaqtda tushuna olishingiz kerak. Bilasiz, o'rta hisobda ikkita talaba, bir xilda bitta professor, bitta teacher, tutor suhbatga qo'shiladi. 3 kishini bir vaqtda super comprehension bilan tushunib, vazifalarni bajarish bo'ladi. O'shaning uchun part 3 eng qiyin part. To'g'ri, kursimiz davomida question type'lar bilan ishlaymiz, uni tushuntirib beraman, lekin o'rtoqlar, eng muhim jihati tushunchani rivojlantiringda, sizga hech qanaqa boshqa tip, strategy kerak bo'lmaydi. Misol uchun map questionlari, uni tipini bilganingiz sizga katta privilege bermaydi. Shunchaki eshitib, tushunib, demak, xaritani bu yoqda bunaqa ekan, north qismida bunaqa ekan, west qismida bunaqa ekan, o'rtada dumaloq circle shape'dagi nimadir bor ekan, shundan sal o'tganingda ekan degan sizga instructions berilsa, siz tushunib bittada hammasini to'g'ri topasiz. Shunaqa. Aslida unaqa secret yo'q. Listeningda 3 ta narsa sizga har doim yordam beradi. Listen, understand, compare. Listen, ya'ni eshitishimiz kerak diqqat bilan. Understand, o'sha comprehension. Compare, bu javoblarni compare qilish. Aslida shularni o'zi yetadi. Biz comprehension ustida ishlamaganimizga doim o'rta hisobda 20 ta savollarni to'g'ri topamiz, o'sha part 1 bilan part 4 dagi so'z to'ldirishni to'g'ri topamiz. Bu degani baribir 5,5 degani. Shuncha ustida ishlamaganimiz uchun 5,5, 6, 6,5, uzoq 7 gacha chiqib qolamiz. Bizda target 9 o'rtoqlar. Demak, comprehension ham shunga yarasha bo'lishi kerak. Assalomu alaykum guys. Bu videoda listening comprehension darsini ikkinchi qismi haqida gaplashamiz. O'tgan dars the importance of comprehension haqida gaplashuvdik. Comprehension qanchalik muhimligini. Bugungi darsda bo'lsa, comprehension yaxshilash uchun ishlatiladigan ikkita strategiya, ikkita approach haqida gaplashamiz. Shu ikkita approachni o'rgansak, xudo xolasa, comprehensionimiz yana ham tez, sifatli yaxshilanadi. O'rtoqlar, approachlar haqida gaplashishdan oldin, keling bitta case'ni ko'rib chiqamiz. Tasavvur qilamiz, hammaga mashhur IELTS imtihoni ingliz tilini emas, o'zbek tilini tekshirsa, o'zbek tilini bilish darajamizni tekshirsa, ya'ni International Uzbek Language Testing System. Shunaqa bo'lib qoldi. Endi native speakers bizamiz, o'zbeklar, inglizlar bizani tilni o'rganyapti. Va shunaqa holat bo'lib qoldi, bitta ingliz sizdan "Men shu imtihonga tayyorlanyapman, lekin o'zbek tilida listening, eshitish ko'nikmam yaxshi emas, eshitgan narsamni to'liq tushunmayapman, multiple choice savollarda adashyapman, map savollarda adashyapman. Shunga menga qanaqadir sir, qanaqadir tip strategy o'rgating" deb sizdan so'rab qoldi. Qanaqa oson yo'li bor sizlarni tilni tezroq tushunib, listeningdan 9 olishni deb mana so'rabdi bizdan. Endi bir o'ylab ko'raylik, unga qanaqadir tip strategiya bera olamizmi? Umumiy beradigan maslahatimiz, bu yoqda hech qanaqa sir yo'q, qisqa yo'l yo'q. Eshitishing kerak, eshitganingda analiz qilishing kerak, mag'zini chaqishing kerak, o'shanda listeninging ko'tariladi deymiz. Menimcha ko'pchilik shunaqa deydi. Xuddi shu narsa endi hozirgi real hayotda, mana IELTSda bizda sir asrorlari yo'q, qisqa yo'l yo'q. Mana shu yo'ldan borsang tezroq eshitish ko'nikmang oshadi degan narsa yo'q agar qattiq mehnat qilmasang. Mana xuddi shu inglizga biz shu maslahat beramizda, mehnat qilsang, bizni tilimizni o'rganasan, eshitganingda aniqroq, to'liqroq tushunishing yana ham rivojlanadi. Faqat mehnat, mehnat, mehnat deymiz. Xuddi shu maslahatni o'zimizga ham shior qilib olishimiz kerak. O'sha hard work, hard work, hard work. Endi savol tug'ilishi mumkin. Hop, unda kursdan nima keragi bor? Misol uchun shu kursga pul to'lab nima zarur? U narsani mana bilaman. Harakat, harakat, harakat. Unga pul berib, qaysi kursda sota olishim yoki qatnashishim shart emas. Sog'lom fikrlidan hamma odam biladi bu narsani deydiganlar uchun teaching, listeningni o'rgatish bo'yicha ba'zi instrumentlarni o'ylab topib, kurslarda o'qituvchilar shuni tatbiq qilishini xohlagan. Listening comprehensionni rivojlantirish uchun ishlatiladigan teachingdagi instrument bu bugun gaplashadigan ikkita approachimiz. Top down, bottom up. Videoni davomini diqqat bilan ko'rsak, shu ikkita usul, ikkita strategiya orqali xudo xolasa, qattiq mehnatimizga yana samara ham qo'shib, yana ham effective learning process bo'ladi xudo xolasa. Demak, o'rtoqlar, birinchi keling aniqlik kiritib olamiz. Bu approachlar bizni overall listeningimizga qanday foyda olib keladi? Shu haqida gaplashamiz. Listening ishlayotganda performansimiz yaxshilanishi uchun listening haqidagi mindsetni o'zgartirishimiz kerak. Ya'ni listening bu shunchaki imtihon moduli emas, listeningni biza eshitish orqali chet tildagi ma'lumotlar oqimini qabul qilib olishimiz, qabul qilib olish yo'limizni bilishimiz kerak. Listening ekan imtihon ekan, listening ekan test ekan emas, listening orqali o'sha berilayotgan ma'lumotlar flow deymiz, o'sha oqim kelayotganida, shu oqimdan maksimal ma'lumot olib olishimiz mana shu listening bo'lishi kerak. Agar siz test deb qarasangiz, doim sizda nimadir muammo bo'ladi. Hayajon, qo'rquv, voy o'tkazib olaman, voy tushunmay qolaman, voy eshitmay qolaman degan narsalar bo'ladi. Mana tayyorlanmoqsizmi? Listeningga o'sha ma'lumot manbai deb qarang. Mana shunda listening haqidagi fikrimiz, boyagi mindsetimiz o'zgarsa, xudo xolisa natijamiz o'zgarishi ham tezlashadi. Mana bugun ko'rib chiqqan ikkita approachimiz o'sha ma'lumotlarni maksimal qabul qilib olishimiz uchun xizmat qiladi, yordam beradi. Birinchi approachimiz top down. O'z nomi aytib turibdi, as the name suggests, top down, yuqoridan pastga, yuqori past degan ma'noda. Bu degani eshitmoqchi bo'lgan trackimiz, listeningimiz, mana bajarmoqchi bo'lgan testimizga yuqoridan qarab olamiz. Bunda bizaga o'sha listening haqidagi background knowledge'imiz yordam beradi. Ya'ni oldindan bu mavzu haqida nimalarni bilamiz, nimalarni eshitishimiz mumkin, likelihood nima. Buni biz prediction ham deymiz, oldindan bashorat qilamiz, nimani eshitishimiz mumkin hozir, track nima haqida bo'lishi mumkinligi. Mana shu narsa top down strategy. Bu qanaqa bo'ladi? Misol uchun, mana listening oldik, listeningdagi title-ni o'qiymiz birinchi o'rinda. Listening nima haqida? Shu title aytib turadi. O'sha title bizga hint beradi, ya'ni bitta belgi beradi, eshitmoqchi bo'lgan listeningimiz nima haqidaligiga. Undan tashqari, savollarni o'qib chiqsak, bizdan nima so'ralayotganlarini ko'rib chiqsak, o'tdan setting haqida bilishimiz mumkin. Ya'ni qayerda bo'lib o'tadi hozirgi suhbat. Misol uchun o'sha listening part 1 da aytaylik, hotelda bo'lishi mumkin, kutubxonada bo'lishi mumkin yoki telefon orqali, phone call orqali bo'lishi mumkin. Bilib olamiz, qaysi manzilda, qaysi yerda bo'ladi listening. Va o'sha listeningni missiyasi nima? Aimi nima? Nima haqida o'zi? Bu listeningda biz nimani eshitamiz hozir? Misol uchun ishga topshirishmi? Ko'p uchraydi mana talabalar telefon qiladi yoki boradida, "Men ishga kirmoqchiman o'qishimdan keyin" deydi. Shu haqidami? Yoki mehmonxonadan room booking, xona band qilishmi? Yoki nimadandir complain qilishmi? Yoki enrollmentmi? Qanaqadir kursgami? Qanaqadir to'garakga qatnashish, shunga yozilishgami? Mana shularni bilib olishimiz, hammasini ermay o'qib, bitta picture yaratib olishimiz. Shu tepadan trackka qarashimiz. Bizni nima kutayotganini qarashimiz. Mana shu top down strategy deyiladi. Doim listening bajarayotganingizda birinchi o'rinda shu ishni qiling. Butun qarab chiqing. Title'larni, savollarni, nimalar ishlatilgan o'tda, shunga qarab, siz birinchi listeningga tayyor bo'ladigan qadamni qo'ygan bo'lasiz. Hozir siz nima eshitishingizni taxminiy bilasiz. Mana shu strategiya top down strategy deyiladi. Bunda listeningga yordam beradigan faktorlardan biri background knowledge katta yordam beradi. Topic, mavzu haqidagi janri, o'zi janr qanaqa bo'ladi? Hozir eshitmoqchi bo'lgan trackimizda world deganda dunyo, qanaqadir joy haqida bo'lishi mumkin, mashhur muzey bo'lishi mumkin yoki qaysidir hayvon haqida bo'lishi mumkin. Mana part 4 da ham leksiya bo'lib qoladi-ku. Leksiyada ham qaysidir hayvon haqida gapirishi mumkin. Mana shu hammasiga oldindan tayyor turishimiz, o'zimizni tayyorlab olishimiz top down strategy deyiladi. Bu narsa juda muhim o'rtoqlar. Berilayotgan listening vazifalarga teparoqdan qarang birinchi o'rinda. Mana shu birinchi kerakli strategiya bo'ladi. Endi ikkinchi approach. O'rtoqlar, top down approach bizga 100% dan 20% gina yordam beradi desak, shunday deb hisoblasak, bottom up strategiyasi bo'lsa, listeningimiz yaxshilanishi uchun 80% ijobiy ta'sirga ega. Shuning uchun kurs davomida aynan shu approach ustida qattiq ishlashimiz kerak, o'rtoqlar. Hatto qattiq ishlashimiz shart. Bu approach qanaqa? Bu approachda berilayotgan listening ma'lumotlarni biz maydalab eshitib tushunish ustida ishlashimiz kerak. Bu approachda listening uchun kerakli bo'lgan faktor language knowledge bevosita qatnashadi. Bunda listening paytida soundslarni aniq tiniq eshitish, ayniqsa spelling uchun, so'zlarni tushunish, nima so'z aytilganini tushunish, shuni ustida ishlash, grammatika ustida ishlash. Ya'ni gapda qanday grammatika usuli ishlatilyapti, gap pozitivmi, negativmi, questionmi, qaysi zamonda gapirildi, shularni anglab olish ustida ishlash, shularni eshitganda farqlab olish ustida ishlashimiz. Undan tashqari so'z boyligi, vokabulyar ustida ishlashimiz. Trekda qanaqadir so'zlar kelib qolsa, u so'zni qaysi ma'noda ishlatilyapti aynan. Chunki bilamiz, ko'p so'zlarning ma'nolari bitta emas, bir nechta bo'ladi. Shularni eshitayotgan paytimiz aynan qaysi ma'noda kelganini kontekstdan kelib chiqib tushuna olishimiz uchun shu approachdan foydalanishimiz kerak. Bu approachni bitta so'z bilan aytsak, detailni tushunish. Ya'ni berilayotgan ma'lumotni har bir detalini tushunish ustida ishlash bu bottom up strategy yoki approach deyiladi. Shu approach muhim bo'lganligi uchun hozir shu approach haqida yana ham aniqroq va to'liqroq gaplashamiz o'rtoqlar. Assalomu alaykum guys, yaxshimisizlar? Bugungi video darsda bottom up approachni yana ham kengroq, yana ham detailed qilib ko'rib chiqamiz. O'rtoqlar, bu approach kimni targeti 7+, 8+, even 9 bo'lsa, o'shalar uchun eng samarali approach hisoblanadi. Mana oldinlari listening o'stirish uchun listening bilan yashash kerak. Kuniga 5 soat, 10 soatlab narsa eshitish kerak. Faqat inglizcha qo'shiqlar eshitgan, inglizcha kinolar ko'rgan, o'shanda listening rivojlanadi deyishardi. Oldin eng ko'p tarqagan maslahat edi. Lekin hozirgi kunda priority qilib, not study hard but study smart. Shu rejimga o'tish kerak. Hozirda shu rejim mashhur bo'ldi. Ya'ni to'g'ri aqlli tayyorlanish. Shunaqa smart tayyorlanishga, listeningdan shunaqa smart tayyorlanishga aynan shu approach bizga katta yordam beradi. Mana listening bo'yicha eng ko'p tarqalgan, eng ko'p uchraydigan muammo yoki shikoyat bu, bilasiz, listeningdagi track tez ekan, listeningni catch qilishga ulgurmayapman, listeningdagi gaplarga tushunmayapman. Shunga o'xshagan muammolar juda ko'p uchraydi. Buni sababi, mana listening qilayotganimizda biz asosan connected speech ustida ishlamaymiz. Shundan kelib chiqadi bu muammolar. Bottom up approach bo'lsa, aynan shu muammoni yaxshilash uchun xizmat qiladi. O'zi connected speech nima? Connected speech bu, mana ingliz tilidagi so'zlarni, gaplarni bir-biriga ulanib ketishi. Qaysidir so'zlar, qaysidir gaplar bir-biriga ulanib, chaynalib ketishi. Bu narsa hamma tilda bor. Mana o'zimizda ham shunaqa-yu. Ya'ni o'zimizda ham shunday-ku demaymiz-ku gapirganimizda. Xuddi shu narsa. Mana shuni ustida ishlash uchun listening qilayotganingizda, mana listening practicelar berilyapti. Testlar ishlayapsiz. Connected speechni yaxshilab tushunib olish ustida ishlang. Mana slaydga qarasangiz, examples of connected speech berilgan mana. Biz listeningda bottle of deb eshitmaymiz. Bottle of yoki you should have called me, you should have deb eshitmaymiz asosan. You should have bo'lib qoladi, asosan v bo'lib qoladi. Yoki I would masa I'd yoki are you ready demiz, are you ready? Tovush bo'lib qoladi. Shunaqa. Yoki mana pastlog'ini qarasangiz, hand back deb aytmaydi-da, handbag yoki 10 cars demaydi-da, 10 cars. Shunaqa. Speech payti bu so'zlar bir-biriga connected bo'lib ketadi. Mana shuni distinguish qilish uchun eshitayotgan narsamizni doim 3 ta etapda eshitib tushunishimiz kerak. Mana eng tepasini qarasangiz, sounds. Mana partonni asosan bilasiz, spelling qiladi. Shu spelling qilayotgandagi soundlarni yaxshilab eshitishni rivojlantirishingiz kerak. Qanaqadir adresmi bu, qanaqadir pochtami, postkodmi, shularni qayta-qayta qaysi harfi qanday pronounce qilyapti. Shuni eshitib, shuni ustida ishlasangiz, sound etapidan o'tib, keyingisi mana wordsga o'tasiz. Ya'ni berilgan audiodagi gaplardagi so'zlar, misol uchun, sizga u so'zlarni shundoq ko'rsatsa, siz tushunasiz. Ko'pini tushunasiz. Lekin track payti tushunmay qolasiz. Buning asosiy sababi o'sha boya aytganimiz connected speech bo'lib ketgan. Gaplarning orasida ular qo'shilib ketadi. Shuni ustida practice qilishingiz kerak. Mana listening eshityapsizmi? Mana bitta gap eshitdingiz, ichidan qaysidir so'zni tushunmay qoldingizmi? Yana eshiting. 2 marta, 3 marta eshiting. Aytaylik, 6 ta 7 ta so'zli bitta gap aytdi qaysidir speaker va orasida bitta so'z sizga notanish eshitildi. Bunda o'sha yoki listening o'zida muammo bo'lishi mumkin, yokida o'sha so'z sizda yo'q, so'z boyligingiz kamlik qiladi. Shu tekshiring. So'z qolmasin, har bitta gapidagi so'zlarni maksimal eshitib tushuning, eshitib farqlang. O'shanda rivojlanadi. Va 3-chi etap o'sha boyga groups of words. Mana so'zlar birga kelgan. Mana pastdagi example'larni eshitganingizda siz o'sha misol uchun have emasda boy keldi, should have. Shunaqa joylarni siz aniq tiniq yopishib qolsa ham so'zlar bir-biriga ajrata olishingiz kerak. O'shanda 9 bo'ladi. Bu 9 larni eshitish qobiliyati o'rtoqlar. Mana shularni rivojlantirishimiz kerak. Hozir connected speechga yana bitta misol ko'ramiz o'rtoqlar. Mana o'rtoqlar, connected speechga bitta misol. Connected speech sabab o'sha mishearing bo'ladi. Mishearing sabab tushunmay qolishimiz, yaxshi anglamay qolishimiz, eshitmay qolishimiz sodir bo'lib turadi. Mana hozir sizlardan qiladigan ish, videoni pauza qilib, connected speech uchun namuna qilib berilgan bitta gapni qayta-qayta ovoz chiqarib o'qing va qayta-qayta o'qish orqali aslida bu qanday gapligini o'zingiz topishga harakat qiling. Xuddi shu narsa listeningda ko'p uchraydi. Ya'ni siz eshitganingizda boshqacharoq eshitiladi, lekin aslida ingliz tilidagi sodda va murakkab gaplar bo'ladi. Hozir sizlar ham shunaqa qilasizlar. Videoni pauzaga qo'yasizlar, ekranda berilgan gapni qayta tez o'qib, original ingliz tilidagi gap nimaligini topasizlar. Omad! Good, o'rtoqlar, mana boya eshitilishi yozilgan gapimiz aslida mana I'm ill but I will yoki I'll, to'g'rimi? Meet her next week. Men betobman, lekin keyin hafta u bilan uchrashaman degan gap mana oddiy gapimiz bo'ladi. Lekin connected speech sababli yana aytaman, gapimiz boshqacharoq eshitiladi. Mana shunusida ishlashimiz kerak. Bu muammo deyarli 100% hammamiz uchraydi, ya'ni listeningdagi connected speechni tushunmasligimiz. Lekin skriptni o'qiganimizda hayron qolamiz. Kerak bo'lsa tushkuniga tushamiz. Voy, shu oddiy gap ekan, men eshitib tushunmadim. Listeningim shunchalik pastmi deymiz. Yo'q, aslida boya aytganimdek, muammo connected speechni rivojlantirish ustida ishlamaganimiz. Xo'p, bunisida qanaqa ishlaymiz? Bu muammoni qanday qilib hal qilsak bo'ladi? Ya'ni connected speech bo'lgan gaplarni biz oson, qiynalmasdan qanday tushunishimiz mumkin? Endi shu haqida gaplashamiz. Demak, connected speechni tushunishi birinchi yo'li diktant yozish, dictation. Diktant yozish ham ancha yordam beradi. To'g'ri, zerikarli jarayon, lekin foydasi bor. Agar sizda o'rta hisobda band 6 atrofida qotib qolgan bo'lsangiz, undan o'smayotgan bo'lsa, ozgina dictation bilan ishlaganingiz yaxshi. Dictationga o'rta hisobda part 1, part 2 ni olsangiz bo'ladi. Ancha rivojlantirib olishga yaxshi. Dictation qanaqa yoziladi? Trackni qo'yasiz, bitta gap aytadi, pauzani bosasiz, yozasiz butun gapni. Shunda short memory ustida ham ishlayotgan bo'lasiz. Listening, reading uchun kerak narsa bu. Bir xilla dictation desa, bitta so'z eshitadi, pauza yozadi. Keyingi so'z pauza yozadi. Unaqa qilmas kerak. Butun gapni aytsin. Butun gapni aytsa zo'r. Keyinchalik buni rivojlantiring. Bitta play qilganingizda bitta gap emas, ikkita gap aytsin, keyin pauza bosib, ikkita gapni yozing. Shunaqa qilib rivojlantirib ketaverasiz, ham so'z borligi ustida ham ishlaysiz. Unda chiqadigan notanish so'zlarni speakingda ishlatsangiz bo'ladi, ba'zi so'zlar bor, writingga tushishi mumkin. O'zining levelingiz uchun ham foydali. Shu narsa. Boshlab olishga, boya aytganimdek o'rta hisobda band 6 atrofida yurganlar, undan o'tolmayotganlar, mana multiple choice qilsa hammasi xato, map qilsa hammasi xato. Shunaqa vaziyatlarga uchrayotganlar bo'lsa, shunaqa qiyinchiliklarga uchrayotganlar bo'lsa, ozgina diktantni qo'shgani yaxshi. Mana listening practice'da skript bor-ku, shuni olib, mana trackni ishlatasiz, skriptni ishlatasiz. Juda yaxshi yordam beradi. Shunda shu birlashib ketgan so'zni ham qanaqa eshitilishini, boya aytganimiz connected speechni farqlab olish uchun juda katta yordam beradi. Demak, birinchi usul dictation. Ikkinchi usul bor, o'rtoqlar. Bu ham ancha yordam beradi. Mana dictationdan keyin 6,5 7 ga chiqib oldingiz. Undan u yog'iga yana rivojlantirmoqchisiz. Bunda qiladigan ishingiz note taking, birinchi o'rinda listeningni play qilasiz, listening ketaveradi. To'xtatmaysiz listeningni. Maksimal ilib olasiz. Nima ma'lumotlar bor? Masalan, ismi Bob, 19-year-old student, part-time job kerak. Masalan, study major bunaqa, problemi bunaqa, free time bunaqa. Muhim ma'lumotlarni yozib ketaverasiz, lekin trackni to'xtatmaysiz. Boya dictationda to'xtatib yozishingiz kerak. Bitta gapdan keyin pauza va gapni yozib olasiz, keyin play qilib davom etasiz. Bu keyingi next levelda, mana note taking levelida siz to'xtatmaysiz. Track ketaveradi, siz maksimal unga yetib olib, undan qolib ketmaslik ustida ishlaysiz. Bu narsa sizni fokusingizga ham katta yordam. Mana fokusim yo'q listening payti deydiganlar, note taking mashqlarini qilsangiz, sizda xudo xolisa stabilniy fokus rivojlanadi. Chunki siz shunchaki xayol surib turmaysizda, xayol surib tursangiz ma'lumotlar o'tib ketadi. Ma'lumotlar bilan birga harakat qilish uchun, birga diqqatni jamlab turish uchun praktika qilgan bo'lasiz. Bu narsa katta foyda olib keladi. Ikkinchi yordam beradigan narsa, audioda bitta gap eshitasiz, pauzani bosasiz, o'shanda nechta so'z ishlatilindi. U connected speech bo'lsa ham, siz erinmasdan sanaysiz nechta so'z ishlatilindi. Mana bitta misol qarang-da. Mana bu yerda nechta? Mana how, bitta much, ikkita longer, uchta is, to'rtta it, beshta going, oltita to, yettita take, 8ta you, 9ta. Mana 9ta so'z ishlatilingan. Shunaqa qilib mashqlar qilsangiz ham yana ham rivojlanadi. Shu connected speechni topa olish. Men eshitganimni tushunmayapman deydigan narsa qolmaydi, xudo xolisa. Shularning ustida обязательно ishlashimiz kerak, o'rtoqlar. 3ta mashq umumiy hisobda. Birinchisi boyagi dictation, dictationdan keyin rivojlangandan keyin note taking qiling. Undan keyin mana how many words mashqni qilsangiz, gap eshitasiz, pauza nechta so'z. Gap eshitasiz, pauza nechta so'z. O'shanda eshitgan ma'lumotingizni yoyib olishni o'rganasiz. Mana shular. Demak, o'rtoqlar, ikkita darsni bitta qilib summary qilsak, eng zo'r strategiya nima? Birinchisi top down strategy bo'yicha. Keng qamrovli listening qilgan yaxshimi? Lekin enjoyment bilan. Ya'ni o'sha umumiy tepadan qarab listening qilgan yaxshimi? Umumiy doim eshitib yurib, umumiy ma'nolarni topib yurgan yaxshimi? Yokida bottom up strategiyalarni ishlatgan yaxshimi? Mana hozir ko'ryapmiz, dictation yaxshimi? Note taking yaxshimi? How many words mashq yaxshimi? Yokida umumiy language ni yaxshilagan yaxshimi? Mana general English ni yaxshilagan yaxshimi? Qaysi strategiya eng zo'ri? Demak, ekspertlar maslahat beradi. Eng zo'ri all of the above. Tepadagi hammasini rivojlantirish. Ya'ni o'sha uzun keng qamrovli bo'lsa ham, enjoyment uchun listening qilish, top down usulida, shunchaki eshitish, background knowledge ga rely on qilish yoki bottom up strategiyalarni ishlatish yoki umumiy ingliz tilini skilllarini rivojlantirish. Hammasi yaxshi, hammasi foyda beradi. Kurslarda yoki internetda ko'p so'rashadi, u foyda beradimi, bu foyda beradimi? Mana shu savolga javob, hammasi foyda beradi. Faqat chin yurakdan, o'ziga ishonib, ixlos bilan ishlash kerak bo'ldi. Mana o'rtoqlar, shu bilan bu darsimiz tugadi. Umid qilaman, kurs foydali bo'lyapti. Oldin e'tibor bermagan, oldin muhim deb o'ylamagan ko'p narsalar bilan o'rganyapsizlar va kunlik praktikada tatbiq qilyapsizlar. Charchamanglar.
The world of art hit the front pages this week with the news that a London hospital has appointed an arts curator. The curator's job will be to arrange art exhibitions and other events at University College Hospital to improve patients' experience in hospital. The appointment follows the installation last month of a £70,000 stone sculpture outside the hospital's main entrance. The unveiling of the sculpture was greeted with disbelief by the popular press, who described it as a complete waste of money. and the appointment of the new curator has fueled the debate. According to a statement from the hospital, an artistic environment is a positive factor in attracting and keeping staff, as well as helping in quicker recovery rates for the patients. Critics of the hospital's policy, however, were unimpressed. I spoke to Lucy Haddam-Peters, an independent art consultant and a curator herself, for an expert opinion on this controversy. Lucy, thank you very much for coming along today.
You're welcome.
We're standing outside University College Hospital on the busy Euston Road with the controversial stone sculpture by artist John Aiken just in front of us. Lucy, could I ask you, first of all, your opinion of the sculpture? Is it a masterpiece, or is it, as some have said, a load of rubbish?
Well, it has a certain charm, and it fits. I think it looks quite nice, but...
You're not convinced?
No. Whatever you think of it, I don't think that anybody would say it's a masterpiece.
Worth £70,000?
Well, it certainly sounds a lot of money, but I don't think it's overly expensive for a work of this kind. I read in one of the papers this morning, one of the papers that was very very critical, that the hospital should have spent the money on more staff, more doctors and nurses and so on, that they shouldn't be wasting money on paying for an arts curator, but the money actually comes from charitable donations, from money that people have given.
Why is it that more and more public institutions, hospitals for example, are spending money on art projects?
Yes, I agree that this seems rather new, but in some ways this country is simply catching up with other countries, like France, for example. In fact, wherever you go in France, you see large public arts projects all around you. And many of these are very popular, so it's not really new as such, although the idea is still new to some people here in England.
And the reasons?
Well, there's no doubt that many environments could be improved, made more attractive with well-chosen works of art as a focal point, a point of interest. And people often feel more positive. They feel proud of where they live or where they work. I think that art can also help to bring people together, to encourage people to talk about the art and share their views, whether they like it or not, and so on. In fact, in all the companies I've worked for, whenever we unveil a work of art, people always get together and talk about it. So, yes, I think there are many reasons why public art projects can be very exciting for everyone.
But only if they like what they see, I suppose.
Well, yes, obviously. And I think it also depends on why a company invests in an art project. There was one company, a paint factory, which wanted art for their office buildings, and I acted as a consultant to help them in selecting and buying the work. And then we worked together to decide the best way to exhibit the work in the offices. But the place was absolutely awful. Coffee stains on the carpets, broken down vending machines everywhere, no redeeming features at all. And the smell of paint was so overpowering. I got the commission because they wanted to smarten the place up, make it look nice, but the smell of paint was really that a couple of prints on the walls or a nice sculpture or whatever simply wasn't going to make the slightest difference. They should really have spent the money on smartening the whole place up.
In today's On the Job, we're looking at working with animals. Later on in the programme, we'll be paying a visit to London Zoo to talk to some of the keepers there. But first of all, we're going to be talking to a dog trainer from the Guide Dogs for the Blind Association. Good morning, Beth. Thanks for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Beth, how did you first get involved in training guide dogs?
First of all, I got interested in the puppy walking side of things because there was someone I knew who did it.
Puppy walking?
Yes. A neighbour of mine used to take in pups for the Guide Dog Association. She had the job of doing basic training with the pups, getting them used to walking on a lead, to noisy and crowded places, that kind of thing. It's important that when they start their guide dog training, they're already used to busy roads and traffic and don't get scared by loud noises. So anyway, we got talking and I volunteered to take on a pup, and it all just grew from there. About a year later, I was training as a guide dog trainer.
What did you do before?
I used to be a postwoman, ironically, as some dogs really hate postmen.
So, is life very different as a dog trainer?
Yes, it definitely is. I don't think it could be more different, really.
What's the most rewarding part of the job?
I think training the people rather than the dogs. Sometimes it's hard work, but when it works out, it's great.
What's the most difficult part of the job?
Well, sometimes partnerships just don't work out for whatever reason. Maybe the dog and the owner just don't get along and a change has to be made. We train about 750 to 800 people a year, and it's inevitable that things don't always work out, but I still hate to see a partnership falling apart.
So, what advice would you give someone who wants to become a trainer?
Well, find out what it's all about first, and remember it's not just about dogs, it's about people too. It took me some time to get used to that side of things.
Do the owners need to have had previous experience of owning a dog?
It isn't essential, but it helps. It's actually far more important that the owners are already mobile, that they're used to getting around with a white stick, for example, and that they have a realistic idea of what a dog can do for them. A dog can't replace their eyes, but they can be an enormous help in making day-to-day life much easier and happier.
How long does it take for the dogs to get used to their owners and their new homes?
It depends, but it's usually very quick, 2 or 3 days. Some partnerships hit it off straight away, others take longer to get to know each other. All the dogs need a breaking-in period when they get used to their owners' daily routines, the routes they usually take, the walks they usually go on.
What's the hardest thing for the dogs to learn?
To deal with traffic, especially bicycles. They can be pretty unpredictable.
I've seen people out and about with their guide dogs, and I'm always amazed at how quickly and smoothly they get around.
Yes, one of the basic things the dogs need to be able to do is judge their owner's size and to match that with possible obstacles. They need to be able to decide if, for example, an overhanging branch is too low for their owner's head or a gap in the crowd is too narrow. It's amazing to see how they get so good at it and how quickly the two of them get used to picking their way through a crowd. Going back to one of your earlier questions, maybe that's the most rewarding thing. Seeing a dog and its owner working as a team and feeling that they really don't need me anymore, that my job's over and the two of them can just get on with it. That's a great feeling, a feeling of a job well done.
Well, thank you for joining us today, and good luck to you and your guide dogs. And if you want to know more about guide dog training, get in touch with the Guide Dogs for the Blind Association.
Test 2. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to Section 1. Section 1. You will hear a woman phoning the secretary of a cycling club to find out about becoming a member. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 6. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Hello, South City Cycling Club.
Oh, hi. I want to find out about joining the club.
Right, I can help you there. I'm the club secretary and my name's Jim Hunter.
Oh, hi, Jim.
So, are you interested in membership for yourself?
That's right.
Okay, well, there are basically two types of adult membership. If you're pretty serious about cycling, there's the full membership. That costs $260, and that covers you not just for ordinary cycling, but also for races both here in the city and also in other parts of Australia.
Right. Well, I'm not really up to that standard. I was more interested in just joining a group to do some cycling in my free time.
Sure, that's why most people join. So in that case, you'd be better with the recreational membership. That's $108 if you're over 19 and $95 if you're under.
I'm 25.
Okay, it's paid quarterly and you can upgrade it later to the full membership if you want to, of course. Now, both types of membership include the club fee of $20. They also provide insurance in case you have an accident, though we hope you won't need that, of course.
No. Okay. Well, I'll go with the recreational membership, I think. And that allows me to join in the club activities and so on?
That's right. And once you're a member of the club, you're also permitted to wear our kit when you're out cycling. It's green and white.
Yes, I've seen cyclists wearing it. So can I buy that at the club?
No, it's made to order by a company in Brisbane. You can find them online. They're called Jerry's. That's Jerriz. You can use your membership number to put in an order on their website.
Okay. Now, can you tell me a bit about the rides I can do?
Sure. So we have training rides pretty